Shockwave. I call it the Pony Express. I think it has a ring to it. For OMG, we should expect much of the same draft. I'm not sure if they still want to go for Udyr. I would actually much rather than see something that has more teamfight impact. And this is the pick that we are talking about. Another four-legged critter coming onto the Rift in the Lillia. This gives them a lot more fight when it comes into that mid lane game.
Clement, you should know that this is Hecarim's daughter. You don't call her a critter. Yes, it is.
No way. That's not in the lore.
Nico, it doesn't matter. It's my lore. As we get the same pick and ban again, Hecarim's daughter, the mother is Lillia. Together, they made, Mr. Tomness's girlfriend. That is Lillia. So we do see it is kind of complemented here by the beautiful man that is Varus. And yet again, we're kind of set up for the poke here. But I feel like it's going to be a very different pick and ban going forward.
I just want to say, if that's true, I want to see a DNA test. And if they don't have the DNA test, then you actually need to have like a reality TV show where you have Hecarim and Nico showing up at the same time to prove that your story is actually true.
Are you literally doing Dr. Phil or Jerry Springer?
Man,
are you Jerry Springering me?
It's such a good late night show.
You are not the father. Yeah.
We'll see if that goes because there's not much to talk about this draft. It's almost the exact same thing we're seeing. OMG once again target banning out Shanks, but giving him a little bit more leeway. He has the Rise, he has the Azir, so as long as he doesn't have the Cassiopeia, I think they're fine. OMG, they are still going for a keep their distance composition, but at least this time Lillia is a lot better at disengage than something like the Udyr, which doesn't show up at teamfights whatsoever. And I wonder if they are going to go for LeBlanc blind here. Not sure this is great. I actually still think Zoe's fine.
I was going to add, Clement, that the context is that there's a lot of setup for the poke, right? You mentioned Zoe, that should come in here, but when you get the Lilting Lullaby, that's easy to land poke for Eric and for Wuming. Also, you got the CC, you got the Chains of Corruption. It feels like the setup might actually round out better than something like the Udyr, who only has the single target CC and has to move from target to target.
And this time I want something that is just blind pickable for new. I want a weak side top laner, something you don't have to throw resources into. Honestly, if your Jax is going to play underneath the tower, it's the same thing as an Ornn. Ornn's probably even better in that role. So do expect just straight tank matchups coming out in the top side, while WE themselves, they're thinking about front to back team fight. So WE, they are going to try and deny the potential poke by just outlasting it. Their front line is impervious to damage at this point.
Dude, this is like an easy to run comp though, right? Like if you talk about front to back Sion, Azir, there is so much late game DPS, and it does feel like WE just going pure hard scaling.
Yep, that's all you need to do. Let OMG be the ones to make the risky plays, to try and get ahead early. It's kind of a hard situation for OMG right here. I want something that's super safe, but at the same time, I don't think they can actually play a tank here. A tank doesn't make that much sense. They're not going to be able to out-tank a Sion, Hecarim anyway. So just going for a little bit more damage and disengage is probably the answer. I do like the Gangplank. I think Gangplank actually provides a lot more disengage compared to Jace. Acceleration Gate is nice, but barrels are better. So Gangplank is going to come in. It's just going to free farm, and it also gives them a lot more kill potential on the bottom sides of the map when Wuming decides to go there.
Can I ask you, it does feel like OMG, if they hit their abilities, then boom, the burst is so much to handle. But if they miss, OMG have nothing until they get the reset of their cooldowns, right? Like, delayed fights for WE, OMG need the setup, and if they fail that, then the volatility of their comp could come crashing back on them.
True, and to be honest, against a Sion, it's very hard to actually do sustained poke. If you look at their entire composition, the only one that can actually kill Sion will be Lillia, and she has to do it with Dream Dust.
True.
That's actually not.
Yeah,
you have to go Leandries. You have to have some form of sustained damage on Lillia to actually cut through that Sion. And the Sion with 2 items, I think, is good enough. Even in this matchup, sometimes you might even see Strikebreaker Sion just for extra catch potential on the poke composition. Okay. Yeah, you will see Strikebreaker and Randuin's Omen. That's actually a build plus Glacial Augment.
Okay.
So if it goes for that build, it's very strong at 2 items. It's almost... You can't really kill a Sion on 2 items. So OMG are on a very, very short timer. They pretty much have to get kills pre-15 minutes, and it has to be Wuming and the bot lane snowballing at the same time.
Otherwise, that scaling composition will come to bite them. WE, a game 2 that put us on edge. I mean, OMG found the advantage, but WE took it right back, and going into game 3, we have the poke again from OMG. I love these compositions, Mr. Chu, and I love that I'm here with you on a very special day. Mr. Chu is the, I guess, resident savior of keeping the LPL nice and strict. He knows what these teams do. He's been with us for many, many years. And I don't know when your birthday is, Clement, but happy birthday for whenever it is. I didn't actually put it in the calendar. I don't know if I've missed it, so I'm kind of covering all bases here. But ladies and gentlemen, as I run into game number 3, just note that we are looking at a Jinx again. Jinx versus Varus, second time seeing it around. Comet yet again here on the Varus for the poke we expect. Shanks also going for Comet here in the Azir lane.
A bit of extra pushing power against this one. We have seen a lot of different Azir matchups and lanes coming out. Even some old school stuff like Lethal Temple still exists. Howl of Blades is there for the laning phase, but in a poke ward, Comet, of course, is going to be best. Now, I do want to see OMG actually perform better in this level 1, because I feel like this is a lane where, judging by the fact that they're willing to pick it again 2 times in a row, is definitely a lane that should have Varus being favored. Yep. I do want to see him outpoke at least level 5. It can be a little bit hard for the Alistar level 1, because Alistar doesn't have his combo. So it's normal for W to push in this wave early, but I definitely think that OMG should be able to come back. And just judging by the judging by the starts here, OMG is going to know about the leash coming in from topside. Sion, of course, didn't show up in lane on time. They know the jungle pathing for the bot lane, and this just means that OMG should not be falling to the ganks that they have been falling to in game 2.
Well, Aki starts with the solo leash as we normally see with Lillia's here. Watch his pathing. He will be heading towards the bottom side. And look at how Jiumeng and Missing have already started out the lane. Good disengage, but again, still volatile to some of those ganks, or at least vulnerable, I think is the right word there. I like the cleanse here yet again from Jiumeng, especially going up against Varus, Zoe, Lilting Lullaby, the slow from Gangplank's barrels. Everyone has something to stop Jiumeng, and so the cleanse feels like a must yet again in game 3.
Like Jiumeng doesn't want to go into those slumber parties. I do want to point out that Jiumeng's name in Chinese actually means old dream.
Huh?
So you would think that this is someone that likes to go into drowsy, but not exactly.
No, well, you know, Clement, it may be he likes to impact drowsy onto other people, right? I'm not sure there's an AD carry that does that, but at the very least, Missing, sending out a hook here in the bottom lane as they continue pushing forward. Look at the leads already building up. Apart from top lane, where we did see the leash you mentioned from Breeze, so he's just getting shoved in. Everyone else building up a nice little CS discrepancy. 19 to 15 in the mid lane. Here from Jiumeng and Missing, they've started it up. As the deep ward is actually going to spot out Aki on the Lillia, so they'll stay safe and should be able to maintain this lead within the lane.
Yeah, they just want to scale up a little bit higher. The main point that this lane should come out ahead should be that Serrated Dirt plus tier buy here, and now they're fighting over the Scuttle, but there's a level lead.
Yeah, and Cold's almost dead. I mean, the family dispute in the river comes back to the lane. A 1-for-1. Aki goes down as well, and OMG have immediately lost too. W on the board first, as it is a kill actually goes over to Aki. You're looking at Shanks there, but he's okay for now.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird fight from OMG. They didn't really have the positioning. W were closer to each other, and Aki was actually down a level. So he was level 3 versus level 4 into that one. Double buffs from the Hecarim coming out, and I just don't think they should have contested that one. That was kind of a weird play from OMG. Maybe they were banking on Wuming actually able to join the fight earlier, but he got entangled with Shanks, and that didn't really happen. So let's watch this again. As you can tell, Aki down a level, and the bot wave is actually pushing in favor here for WE. So their members are closer first. They get the full combo onto Cold. He goes down rather easily, and then Aki is just stuck in no man's land. Bit of a weird fight from OMG. Don't think they should have contested that given their positioning.
Breathe in a bit of trouble though. Meanwhile, as we come back to life, Beishang trying to save the play, but Aki on the way too. Numbers advantage going to be here for OMG, but Cold's taking a turret shot. Breed's going to be shielded up as there's the sleep. Immediately, Trouble Bubble comes in first, and Beishang now in the middle of the wave, trying to heal up, but OMG successful in the end, and Cold will even survive.
Huge play coming out from OMG. They actually had their support roaming there earlier, so it was a full 4-man onto the top side, while WE did not respond with equal strength. They try to get themselves out of the situation, and the crowd control lands for Wuming. That was absolutely great. Sleepy Trouble Pebbles going out there. Very easy to follow up for Lillia with that Eep and just getting the double damage on the W.
And kind of remits the play from before, as we see Breathe was low and OMG brought 3 first.
Yeah, this is always great to see Cold earlier on the roams. If you look at Thresh positioning, he's nowhere near this play, and it was a really good stun combo coming out from Wuming. They get Breathe down first. Beishang is still slumbering down. There's nothing much that he can do, and it's a 4v2 top lane dive. 4v2 is kind of the magic number where you should expect your top lane dives to always work out.
Yeah. As they both go down, note that we have Aki now with 2 kills. Again, kind of fixed the situation in the bottom lane where he traded a kill for his life, but getting another one, now sitting on a bounty, and Aki on this Lillia in a great position. And this is what we talked about in the second game. You know, poke comps getting themselves early lead, early access to damage as well, and the ability to snowball the game out of control. That's what we could be seeing here with already a 10 CS lead in the top lane, CS lead in the jungle. And of course, Wuming getting the kill mitigates the CS discrepancy that Shanks had over him before.
I think the next play in the bottom side is going to be absolutely massive for OMG. So W have to ward this out. If Aki comes in level 6 with the Lilting Lullaby and Cannon Barrage from the top side, it can get very ugly for WE.
Might not even need it. Missing has to flash away. There's the Cannon Barrage you mentioned. Death Sentence as Missing stands in a little while longer. The Guardian gives him a bit of shielding so he survives, but of course he's always going to live there anyway. As WE's bottom lane getting pushed off means it's Dragon time for OMG. It'll reset, but at the end of the day, hey, Dragon goes over. You start the objective game early, and Aki didn't even need 6 for the play, Clement, for them to threaten away.
Yeah, that was a good catch out from OMG, but the Cannon Barrage was a little bit wasted for me. I would have preferred you just hold on to that one. They don't really chase onto it. And that just means that the level 6 play coming in from Aki as he goes down into this bottom lane is going to get a little bit harder. Eric does find out the bottom lane for WE in that brush. And in the meantime, we see a little bit of counter jungling from Beishang, just trying to claw his way back into the top side.
Again, we talked about this. Harder to get 6 here for the junglers in this current meta. Remember, jungle experience nerfed on the recent patches, and we're already seeing that Aki has hit 6, but of course Beishang's still not there. After he's done that clear, you talked about the 48 CS mark, excuse me. Beishang pretty much there, still down the level. We'll be expecting him to get it off of this Scuttle, potentially off the Herald as well, which will be spawning in 10 seconds. And both teams still have their bottom lanes in the bottom lane, but Missing is making the roam first. Cold shortly behind him, a level behind him as well.
Yep, and about that jungle's difference in terms of experience, this is why leeching EXP from the lanes is actually super important now. Like, a lot of junglers will not tick 6 without getting some sort of an EXP or some sort of assist kill experience from the other sources on the map. So the junglers these days that get early kills not only just give up less gold when the opponent is farming, they also tend to hit 6 first. That's why we are seeing a lot more action in the lanes, and I think it's a good change in compared to just farm fests.
Makes it more fun, right? I mean, I think the game's definitely... We can't go just based off of this, but by the setup of the patch, it feels like the games are going to be a bit more proactive, a bit more hit the ground running. And, you know, this is what we've seen with OMG's composition. That's what they had to do in this game. So Aki's going to have to be proactive and show us that this meta can be a little bit more fun. Going in for the invade here towards the bottom side, setting up deep vision. Aki has that lilting lullaby, and now we want to see where he can utilize it in this game and get OMG snowballing quickly. Wuming could be that lane eventually as Shanks takes a bit of a hit, and now Aki moves towards the top side.
He's absolutely controlling the jungle at this point, going towards both sides of the river, and they have mid lane priority. So it's just about where they take this one, but I do want to see them go for the bottom side. I feel like bottom side is still easiest to set up. You have Alistar going in, and you also have the Chains of Corruption. You know, what I want to see from OMG is for them to try to get a cleanse or just a flash with the Chains of Corruption and then follow up with the mid lane jungle priority. However, bot lane has been relatively peaceful, and I do want to see if this is the phase where we finally see Eric being able to land some poke Just try to shove that one lane out. Even with the Serrated Dirk plus tier build, I'm kind of surprised that they just haven't been able to get it done. In fact, Jiumeng is very healthy.
He is. I mean, both AD carries actually quite healthy as well. And, you know, Eric landing poke. Clement, you're adding insult to game 2, aren't you? I know. Because what we saw was Eric missed a lot of the poke on the Varus in game 2. And it's funny because game 1, Eric was clean on the Kai'Sa. As now he's threatened here by Jiumeng, but just a bit of damage, nothing more. I want to bring the conversation turnabout. That was a lot of damage, granted. I want to bring it around to this next objective and what we can expect. Landing poke, of course, going to be a crucial part of what we see for the setup. But the Herald still hasn't been started. Pings are coming down now, and Arky, while he's been controlling the jungle, is nowhere near and might just be letting this one go.
Yeah, this isn't a... I don't think they want to contest 5v5s at this point with their bot lane not moving up, and they are down on priority, but I'm not sure they can let this... they should let this happen. With the lead on Wuming, they should be able to contest if it's just a skirmish. So I actually find this quite surprising that they're indexing so heavily into the Drake fight rather than the Herald. I actually find the Herald actually a little bit more useful to OMG in the early game because it actually gives them direct gold, and that allows you to hit item breakpoints, and that's kind of what you want to do on the poke. So I'm not in love with this play from OMG. Basically what they're betting on is that they have to use these vision dark spots for WE to find a pick in the next Drake fight, and if they don't get that, then they just given over a ton of gold to WE.
And time as well, right? WE to elongate this game, something like the Dragon, something like delaying OMG from pushing the tempo is going to be huge. And already gold is still even. OMG have about 500 in their back pocket. Sorry, make that about 300, which is nothing. And so around this next Dragon for WE, they are going to be out on the map. They're going to be contesting. And we'll see what happens next. Because for OMG, there's no cannon barrage for New. He has TP, but not as impactful as that ultimate.
Just use it on a minion wave as Beishang was trying to gank them. And this is really good vision clear from WE. They know that the enemy's just been in their jungle, but Beishang is able to get to river unspotted. Of course, now he's standing on a scuttle. And this is where OMG's Gambit has to pay off. They spent almost 200 gold in wards into the bottom lane, covering the entire bot side, gave up the Herald, and if they lose this Drake, that's absolutely tragic. That's so much invested for nothing.
It is, so we could see a fight. 3 in the pit now. Beishang still on it, and there you go. It's horrible as Shanks forces the flash out of Wuming with the Emperor's Divide. And OMG, this composition is going to be delayed by at least 5 minutes with the Dragon taken. The only response is New picking up turret plate topside.
Yeah, just don't like the macro decision from OMG. I think you try to play suffocating rather than trade sides against the enemy team. If you're a poke composition, trading towers for you is not great. It opens up the map for side lane plays. It means that the enemy can kind of disregard one of their lanes that's being sieged on, and not exactly how I think OMG should have played out the poke. This is really good from WE. They spot out Wuming, low mana, no wave clear capabilities, and they're just going to get a lot of gold out of this as well as the Drake. So WE, any moment they are able to spend without action, without giving over kills to OMG, is a moment well spent for them.
It's insane to me that you're going even with this composition, right? I mean, Varus now has Dustblade, but behind in CS, and Mr. Chu, you know, I know we didn't bring you back to the LPL just to be toxic, but God, like, for WE, this is a smooth game so far, and waves getting pushed up. The Herald taken before we already criticized. It does feel like for now that things are going to continue going smoothly, at least until the next Dragon.
Killing you in the top lane as well. This is pretty
not meant to happen. Definitely not meant to happen. So you getting pushed up and half health now. The GP clears out. Turret plating wasn't taken as it finally goes down, but you're 14 minutes in the game. Gold's still even. And WE going to keep staying in these lanes, farming it out. I mean, Jinx and Thresh doing well. Jiumeng's been playing this matchup quite well at 2 games in a row now.
You see the power spike of Dustblade coming out for Varus, but the question is, are they actually going to try and play around it? I really want to see them do this. They've been having mid-jungle prio for about the last 5 minutes, but OMG just haven't been using it, I think, correctly. What they should do is, you know, whenever you are off the map, just head towards the bot lane. Just give that bot lane a lot of pressure, and if someone tries to face check you in the jungle, then you just turn on them. It's actually a very easy game plan to execute, and it puts a lot of pressure on WE, because they have to defend mid lane, they have to defend bot side at the same time, and they are going to make a mistake at one point. And even if they don't, you get free poke. Like, you just fold Lillia into this bot lane, there's nothing the enemy can do against you. They have to full commit if they want to dislodge you from your CG position, and that just makes it so risky for the opponent.
Because we mentioned the vision investment, right? Your point of saying that how much money was spent by OMG, not only to set up Dragon, but this whole game. You can see their vision investment's been large. Utilize it and put it into a power play. Top lane, though, I have to mention that OMG's Gangplank here has actually picked up the turret. This is Essence Reaver GP, who just got first turret blood. So that's good for OMG, but again, want to see more of this. Want to see them utilize now new with an extended lane. As this keeps happening. Breathe is level 11. Now, if I'm Sion here, I'd ult just for old time's sake, you know, add a bit of pressure. Breathe has got chem take now as well. As hello. All right, stop.
Oh, good stop.
And that's fine. As all right, now Breathe. I'm not sure if he listened to my advice, but he will use it to get away. And of course, holding onto that ultimate was the right play. He's the pro player, and I'm not. So Breathe will escape in the end.
He's pretty glad that he didn't waste that on nothing.
Yeah,
and
true.
this is actually massive for WE. Because they drew the jungle out, they actually get a 4v2 play in the bottom side. Like, this is just constantly stopping backs. They constantly stop Wuming from backing, they stop Eric from backing, and now they just get half a turret for it. This is insane macro advantages.
I mean, onto Eric, he's cleansed early. The Flay takes him down. The Cannon Barrage under turret does nothing. And WE with a kill in this game. Breathe is joined in as well. He's bopped away by Cold. This Sion's just playing zone control as the chem tank gets him back in range. Bit of a bully now as the zap was closed, but turret traded here from WE, who commit everything to the bottom lane. And OMG don't have another lane to punish themselves.
WE just out-macroing their opponents. OMG, they have been looking like headless chickens for quite a while right now. I feel like they should just double down on poking the bot side. That would be totally fine. You could take that tower down. But instead, WE, because Breathe drew so much attention top lane, because they were able to stop backs in the bot, they pull a turret out of nowhere. That was kind of insane that they're able to do that with Wuming this far ahead in lane. Really fun to see. And worst of all, Eric has to burn summoners here. He actually, I think, burned both summoners and still dies in the bot anyway.
Flashing there, I mean, you're flashing towards a team of WE, so I'm not sure that's worth, but both summoners go down nevertheless, and bit of trouble now here for OMG. Out-macroing their opponents. I like that line, Clement, because it feels like this is big team diff here for WE. Again, scaling advantage. It's so obvious. Man, you can be bronze and see that this team outscales. Lilting Lullaby for the team that wants to get proactive here. Death Sentence connects, though. Interrupts the headbutt from missing. Now for OMG, they're way too deep. WE have started the fight in favorable fashion, but that's the flash headbutt pulverized. Cold redeems himself. Beishang getting low. Wuming needs the order to come through. It's the Lilting Lullaby that started it. And it is Lillia that'll finish it with a triple kill over to Aki. OMG finally in this game gets something strong. Breathe the trade. Wuming one hit away. But OMG finally spring into action.
That was a really good cutoff by OMG. Most of the members from WE were on the left side of the map, and they were able to help themselves to the 2 kills on the bottom there. So well done on that part. And man, Aki was just such a monster in that team fight. Indeed, going for the Liandry's build like we were talking about, because he is fed, he is able to power through Sion and get the win for his team.
Finally, Clement, man. OMG springing to life. You know, we're 3 dragons deep, but that's what we were asking to see all game long. And it came off the back of utilizing the poke.
Yeah, this was really well done. Aki splits the C right here, use the Lilting Lullaby to get W out of position, and just look at the damage dealers on the left side. Shanks and Jiumeng don't really get into the fight until much later on, and Eric finds a great poke into the back line. That took a quarter of their HP each, serving them up to Aki for the very clean triple kill. This AP damage threat on Aki is incredibly important because he's the only sustained damage on OMG.
Aki cold there as well, Clement, for the re-engage. The pulverize was massive. I mean, finally, OMG again, I'm going to say it. They sprung into action, and now the gold lead is there. Now we can start talking about what happens when OMG really utilize their poke, utilize the composition late in front of us. Liandry's now picked up. Aki is going to be able to destroy Breathe, as you were talking about in the draft. He is the person to do damage to this front line. And also note that Wuming set up for success on Zoe again. So, OMG, this is kind of like game 2, where they found themselves a lead after the laning phase. How do they utilize it here from here, Clement? And how do you start abusing the advantage off the back of that late fight?
So what I want to see them do is actually just push in onto the mid lane. They can wave clear faster, and if Jinx has to stay underneath tower, she takes one shot from Eric right now, a full charge with the W going down. She's going to be falling very close to half health. So I think the game plan is relatively simple from OMG. You just try to siege, you force WE to react, and you plan ahead when they do eventually decide to use the unstoppable onslaught. You have Cold in position preemptively, you make sure you should stop the Sion, and honestly, they should be able to get a lot out of this. I think they just keep on doing this for a couple times. When the poke finally does land, there's nothing much that W can do to respond. I think they are in holding pattern right now. They just want to make sure that nothing actually happens.
Missing those. That's a hook. That's a hook. The box goes down. Beishang to fly in. Wuming caught out of position. Is he dead? Onto the back line. Missing sets it up. Beishang spikes it down. He'll die in the end, but WE, that's the favorable trade with an explosive rocket from downtown. Jiumeng will clean him up. And man, supports MVP of the series.
How does Missing keep on finding these hooks on crucial targets? This is insane. Every time OMG is going into siege, they just get someone caught out by Thresh hook over the wall. I even think that Wuming actually had a pink ward there, but still somehow Missing finds the kill, and that's going to be double towers going over to WE.
This is a flashback for me. This is Missing on Thresh, a champion that is constantly banned against him. Him, Mako, I think the top 2 Threshers in the league. PP God to a degree when he came into the league, but this is a name on the tip of your lips, and Missing finding the timing perfectly from the portal jump. I know we're going to have another look at this one, because that right there, if that leads to a WE win, Missing MVP straight up.
So crazy, but once again, WE find the full engage before any meaningful poke even lands from OMG. They've been dancing around these skill shots so well. Something lands right there, and look at Wuming right here. This is actually a blind hook.
It's blind. He knows the timing, but it's blind.
He predicted the portal jump back into the brush, catching him out. Great follow-up from the rest of the team, and that's also the cannon barrage used for that one. In the meantime, Beishang with Force of Nature is unkillable, as he promptly dies right there. Caster Curse in the replay, but hey, they find the kill, and that's another massive lead. Great job by Missing.
I don't know, people won't really expect that to be like amazing, but the fact is, it was blind. He gets the timing right, because a second more, maybe even half a second, Wuming repositions, and Missing actually plays to his name as well. So for WE winning out the fight, gold goes back to even. We're playing ping pong again with our hearts, as the next Dragon's 45 seconds from coming up. And for WE, they've gotten some core items on this core carry. We've got the rapid fire cannon now for the Jinx, and Jiumeng leading the gold in this game. So you see early access to items for a Jinx, and you have to start being scared about the earlier teamfight potential than we expected.
You have to pay close attention to Beishang. He could be the one that's flanking this backline. If they can get a charge onto Zoe and Varus, that would be absolutely massive. And then they can just charge in from the front with the Sion. But Beishang should be the one to start this one first. If they go with Sion first, I think Cold just stops it in their tracks, and there's nothing much you can do after that. So WE, I like that they're playing around this 2 lanes right here, but OMG are going in with the Lilting Lullaby.
It's sleepy time. Hecarim's daughter drops the ultimate, and Aki now without that available. Shanks doing zone control in the river as well. I like this from WE as the trouble bubble flies down, but I think that's it. Dragon's going to go over. WE get more time in this game, and while there's a lot of damage coming from WE, or rather OMG on the other side, WE able to escape with the objective.
Yeah, there was no follow-up on the Lilting Lullaby. W managed to walk backwards enough to get the Dark Passage onto Jiumeng, take him out of Chains of Corruption range, and once again, OMG are faltering into the mid-game. I do want to see them just kind of focus down this mid. I don't think it's actually that hard for them to do, And this is a decent reset timing for them to get it. They have the numbers advantage, but they don't have the side lanes vision.
Oh my god, here we go again. Beishang into the back line. Breather's there as well. You've got a lot of AoE now. Shanks getting zoned out. Good cannon barrage as OMG might turn this back. Eric with an inch of life, of Breathes life rather, as he almost goes down. Swell Seed flies through, and somehow OMG actually managed to turn the play with the range again.
Yeah, that was really well done there, and now Shanks has to go back. This is definitely going to be the tower this time, and this is what you want to do as a Siege Boat composition. You want the enemy to have staggered backs and to make sure that you have numbers advantage. Every time you start a fight, you want someone already low, and what Gangplank provides that composition is, you know, if a carry is already going back to base, and then you can zone out the rest of the melee champions with the cannon barrage going down, then you can actually deal with the Sion. Sion comes into your mist, you focus him down, the rest of the teams are held back by the area denial coming out from Gangplank, and that's the way you want to play it.
I like the early force of nature from both Beishang and Breathe on that point, right? When you have the Lillia who's able to shred armor, or excuse me, shred magic resist here with the Liandry's, or rather just attack the health stat, you've got yourself early magic resist to start looking towards Arky, who's 6-2 and 3, who has a Zhonya's, who's going towards his third item as well. It does feel like this game in the palm of his hands right now. Arky has been a jungler we talked about, and a jungler who we highlighted up against Beishang. When Beishang's been that top-tier jungler, I think a lot of people forget that Arky exists, and no, he's not a top-tier jungler himself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Arky is developing in the LPL, and I think within the realms of this series, offers Beishang a bit of competition.
I would not be surprised if Arky just gets bought in the next season.
Okay.
By a team with deeper coffers or something like that. Like, this is a guy that's definitely on the up and up. Whenever OMG has won games, I feel like it's been from insane, crazy carry performances coming out of Arky. Blue Cane, we remember that one, and the previous Skarner game was also really, really nice. So this is a guy that's on the up and up. He's super young, came out of top esports, was an understudy for Karsa, and we just want to see if he can have another carry performance right here. That's a little bit of a slow mid game. What I really want to see from Arky is if he can actually, in his future, pair up with a top mid laner in the league. I think that would be great for his growth.
Oh my god, Fast Horse new actually might be caught out here. The GP doesn't have time for setup, and down he goes. That's a huge pick as WE are going to force the fight further. Cold is frontlining, but OMG want to get the hell out of there. Again, WE utilizing this Hecarim, which has really taken over the LPL today.
Yeah, just going over the side, double first pick already, and there's nothing much that OMG can do. They are engaged upon before being able to deal any damage to the enemy team. However, Jiumeng might be in a pickle.
Shanks going over the wall, though. They're going to turn this yet again. Breathe frontlining, and Arky gets the half health. The Lilting Lullaby, just going to have to move my fat head, is actually available, but they choose not to use it. WE with 5 members available, heading towards the Baron with a Jinx, with a Azir. You do this quickly.
I wonder if we're going to see Wuming come in for the poke. If they line both abilities up, there's a chance that they could find something. Cannon Barrage already stopping
but look,
the target.
Breeze is zoning away. Wuming is at half health, goes down low, and Lilting Lullaby used into the pit. The steal, is it there? No, the Baron secured by WE, but they've lost 2 core members. New with Eric now pushing against Jiumeng and Shanks over the wall with the shifting sands, but 1 or 2 members gonna die here. Can they turn on to New? Helping Jiumeng. Shanks is the brethren that he's gonna use the Emperors of Egypt to defend his AD carry.
Oh, so WE still come out, I would say rather ahead in that one. They trade away 3 for 1, but they do get the Baron buff anyway. And this is a composition where they're not likely going to siege in multiple lanes anyway. So it's actually just fine to have the Baron buff on double carries. I want to see how they actually play this one. Breathe doing a great job at zoning away the enemy, but Eric's poke is coming up huge here. The Swirl Seed across the wall also dealing a lot of damage to them. And you should definitely expect with all of that percentage HP damage and the magic resistance being shredded by Baron for a lot of punishment coming through on Arky's side.
But as we come back, Clement, the Baron being utilized here in the mid lane while Dragon is up yet again. OMG are on it first with Eric and Cole, but they have to pull back as WE are moving into position. Jiumeng on the back end. He took a sleepy trouble bubble. Remember, Lilting Lullaby is available, and WE is starting to punish us down.
Yeah, this ramp is going to be so hard to actually get through. Breathe will stop it, and he's going back in.
Once again, Hecarim into the back line. Beishang there, aggressive yet again, hitting you down as he's just dead immediately. We turn back around to Boxblade Bear. Aki flashes in, the Lilting Lullaby's big as well, as that's cold into the back line. Emperor's Divide shifts the sands. Wuming, however, has an extra flash. He's kiting around. OMG have them in front of their eyes. Eric's there too, missing about to drop on down and breathe as he's just there running into Eric. It feels like OMG have done their due diligence as my stream goes to full 144p. It's a bloodbath in the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, WE go a little bit too far forward. I don't think charging up the ramp solo was necessarily the greatest idea from Beishang. He drops immediately, and then OMG with a bit of a comeback. They're able to dance around Breathe, find the backline, mainly through Aki's Lilting Lullaby and the Cannon Barrage and the kind of flank from New that he played. So OMG definitely understanding how to play in a difficult teamfight situation. That was actually beautiful to see from them. But at the end of the day, of course, you still can't kill the Sion. So we're going to see this again. This is, I think, Beishang getting a little bit greedy right here, trying to get the kill onto Cold. Cold actually just uses him as a as kind of a springboard back into his own team comp, and they section WE into two different areas. This is great from Aki and Cold. They get into the back line. Breathe can't chase all the way in onto so many targets. So Wuming and Eric are actually able to dish out punishment, get the carries from WE, and then still walk away from the zombie man.
Really nice flash from Eric there as well, and kind of repositions and adds so much texture to the fight. Now 3 items on the Varus here as well, and your poke is online and is really, you know, adding a lot of elements to this fight as well. But let's remind our audience that at 31 minutes in the game, you are in WE territory. They were winning fights before, and the fact that that fight was close, just showing that, okay, we're kind of getting towards the end of the spike for OMG. You still have to be concerned that Azir's now 3 items, that your Sion is getting tankier with a fully upgraded Thornmail. Jiumeng is heading towards his 4th item, so yes, OMG making it competitive, but WE now also towards an Ocean Soul. Things are getting real thick with 3 Cs, Clement. As you know what, speaking of thick, here comes big boy Sion onto New. You're going to get knocked up, and Beishang to add layers himself. Missing trying to save the day. Dark Passage there. New, take the lantern, brother, as he gets hit with a massive rocket right to the face. Excuse me, missing, of course, enemy Thresh. Getting baited there a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I'm going to add 4 Cs to just show the thickness of that play.
A good catch coming out from WE. New once again getting punished. This is a rather long death timer, 37 seconds. WE could strip this tower instantly, and OMG are out of position. They have no one to defend up here. They have to go all the way back. I think you already see Missing with some great wards on the corridor, just making sure they're going to be cut off. And this will be W potentially trying to look for a game end right here. They still have Onslaught of Shadows, and New is going to take 15 seconds. I don't think OMG can actually contest this one.
I don't think they can. I mean, for WE, it's like, hello. Jinx is going to push this down pretty quickly, and OMG have to give up this bottom lane. Inhibitor now exposed. Look at the range from Jiumeng. What we were talking about with Jinx is that extra 25 range per level of Q. As Cannon Barrage is put on down, the poke starts again from OMG. Death rains from above. But just like Overwatch, this has just gone kaput as WE are safely able to back away after taking away that turret.
Bit of a weird ultimate coming out from New. Just trying to do the cutoff here. And even WE flashed the question marks on that one. They're pretty happy with just that tower alone, not trying to go full contest. Instead, they are having their eyes on the prize for this Drake. The reason they don't want to get in slow is because it could stop the timer onto the Dragon Soul, push that further back, or the Baron. So they're going to go for the assured play, and they should still be favored in these 5v5s. I do want to see the angle attack from WE, trying to go through this left side of the mid-river. That's the widest point on the map to enter this Baron pit, and I think it's a lot easier to play through rather than going through your own blue side ramp. Indeed, they are going for mid lane priority, and in comes Beishang.
Yeah, onto Eric again. The poke was doing no damage, and now the engage is there. Collapse before any more damage can be done as the box is laid bare. Once again, Beishang, look at him, taking no damage as it's the shuffle, man. LMFAO would be dancing to this one. triple kill again, and you knew WE were going to win this game, guys. Let's not kid yourselves, as the triple comes down, and it's only Wuming to watch as this game could end.
He's running away from the horsey as quick as possible, but the four-legged creatures do have an advantage here. I think Wuming is going to die before he sees a next glimpse of his Nexus, and that will be the game over to WE. It was a grueling early game. Once again, Wuming found his due on the Zoe, but it just wasn't enough as OMG don't play tight enough in the mid-game. WE wrestle it back from a Game 1 loss.
Clement, this series was bonkers, man. The drafts were fun, but WE winning out in the end is the expected result. It just wasn't the expected journey. A 2-1's big for this team, considering that they are one series away from securing playoffs. They could wait for BLG, and if BLG lose again, 9 will be enough to secure playoffs. So it does feel like this